For more than 5 decades, Lionel Richie has been more than a hitmaker. He has been a companion to people's lives. His voice has played softly during weddings, echoed through heartbreaks, and lifted spirits during moments of joy. Whether it was a slow, tender ballad or a vibrant celebration of life, his music always felt personal, as if it were written for one listener at a time. What made Lionel special was never just technical brilliance, it was emotional honesty. His songs didn't demand attention, they invited connection. Behind the calm smile and effortless charm, however, lived a man who carried pressure quietly. Fame brought admiration, but it also brought expectations that never slept. For years, Lionel gave the world warmth and reassurance, while privately navigating doubt, exhaustion, and fear of failure. Only later in life did he begin to speak openly about how close he came to losing not just his career, but his sense of self. Roots in Tuskegee, Alabama. Long before global fame, Lionel Richie was simply a young man growing up in Tuskegee, Alabama, a place rich with history, faith, and community. Music surrounded him early, flowing through church choirs, local gatherings, and family moments. It wasn't treated as a dream of stardom, but as a shared language that brought people together. At Tuskegee Institute, Lionel discovered both discipline and belonging. He studied economics while nurturing a growing passion for songwriting, often unsure if music could truly be his future. That uncertainty grounded him. It kept him humble and curious. It was also at Tuskegee that he met fellow musicians who shared his vision, eventually forming the Commodores. They weren't chasing fame, they were chasing expression. Those early years shaped Lionel's sensitivity as an artist, teaching him that music worked best when it came from honesty, not ambition, and that connection mattered more than applause. The Commodores and a shared dream. The Commodores rose steadily, fueled by chemistry, hard work, and a sound that blended funk, soul, and heartfelt emotion. Lionel emerged naturally as a songwriter whose lyrics felt intimate yet universal. Songs like Easy and 3 Times a Lady revealed his gift for turning simple feelings into lasting memories. Still, success brought quiet tension. While the band thrived on energetic, rhythmic hits, Lionel felt drawn to softer, more reflective music. This difference wasn't conflict, it was evolution. As expectations grew, so did his internal struggle between loyalty and personal truth. The decision to step away from the group was painful and deeply considered. It meant leaving security for uncertainty, but it also meant honoring his creative voice. That moment marked a turning point, not just professionally, but personally, where Lionel chose growth over comfort, knowing that staying true to himself carried risks he would have to face alone. Stepping into the spotlight, launching a solo career placed Lionel Richie fully in the spotlight, with no shared responsibility to lean on. What followed was extraordinary. Songs like Truly, You Are, and All Night Long didn't just succeed, they became cultural landmarks. His voice crossed borders and generations, resonating with people regardless of language or background. Then came Hello, a song so vulnerable it felt almost whispered rather than sung. Fame escalated quickly, bringing awards, global tours, and historic collaborations like We Are the World. From the outside, it looked effortless. Inside, Lionel was pushing himself relentlessly, driven by a belief that he could never slow down. Each success raised the bar higher. He felt responsible not only for his career, but for living up to the version of himself the world expected. The applause was loud, but the pressure was louder, and rest felt like a luxury he couldn't afford. The weight behind the smile. Lionel Richie became known for warmth, humor, and calm. But that public image masked growing exhaustion. He was a perfectionist who rarely allowed himself to fail or even pause. Touring schedules were relentless, studio demands unending, and personal space almost non-existent. Over time, fatigue turned emotional. Despite being surrounded by people, he felt isolated, unsure how to express vulnerability without disappointing others. Fame rewarded strength, not honesty. His smile became a shield, one that protected him while hiding his growing anxiety. He later reflected on the strange loneliness of performing for millions while feeling disconnected from himself. Music, once a source of joy, began to feel like obligation. He kept going, believing endurance was the price of success. But the body and spirit have limits, and by the late 1980s, Lionel was approaching a breaking point that would force him into silence he never expected. When the voice fell silent. In 1990, Lionel Richie faced the most frightening moment of his life. Doctors warned that his vocal cords were severely strained. Continuing without rest could mean permanent damage. For a singer whose identity lived in his voice, the message was devastating. At the same time, his personal life was unraveling under public scrutiny, adding emotional strain to physical exhaustion. Suddenly, the world grew quiet. No tours, no studio sessions, no applause. What felt like everything was taken away at once. Silence, once avoided, became unavoidable. It forced reflection. Lionel had to confront who he was without music, without success, without constant validation. The pause was painful, but necessary. It stripped life down to essentials and revealed a truth he hadn't wanted to face. Strength without balance leads to collapse. This moment marked not an end, but the beginning of deep transformation. A quiet decade of healing. The 1990s were not about disappearance, but rebuilding. Lionel stepped away from the spotlight and turned inward, focusing on recovery and self-understanding. Healing his voice required patience, starting with humming, relearning control, and accepting limits. More importantly, he began healing emotionally. For the first time, he allowed himself to rest without guilt. Family became central. Time with his children grounded him, reminding him that worth wasn't measured in chart positions. Watching his daughter Nicole grow reinforced the importance of presence and guidance. Music slowly returned, but with a different purpose. He no longer chased perfection. He chased honesty. Silence taught him that creativity doesn't vanish. It waits. The years away reshaped his priorities, teaching him that life must be lived, not just performed. In stepping back, Lionel didn't lose himself. He found himself, returning with a new voice. When Lionel Richie returned to music in the mid-1990s, the sound was quieter but deeper. Albums like Louder Than Words reflected maturity rather than momentum. The urgency was gone, replaced by intention. He sang not to impress, but to express. His voice carried scars, but also wisdom. Each lyric felt earned. Though the commercial spotlight had shifted, Lionel was at peace. He understood that relevance isn't measured by noise, but by truth. Performing again felt like gratitude, not obligation. Audiences sensed the difference. The man on stage was no longer running, he was present. His comeback wasn't about reclaiming fame, it was about reclaiming balance. Music had returned to its rightful place, not as his identity, but as his companion. For Lionel, that distinction changed everything. Guiding the next generation. Joining American Idol later in life wasn't a career move, it was a calling. Lionel stepped into the role of mentor with empathy shaped by experience. He didn't just judge voices, he guided people. He spoke openly about pressure, reminding contestants that talent opens doors, but character keeps them open. His advice carried weight because it came from lived truth. He encouraged patience, self-respect, and emotional grounding in an industry that often rewards excess. Viewers saw not a superstar, but a teacher, warm, honest, and generous. This chapter allowed Lionel to give back without sacrificing himself. He wasn't chasing relevance, he was offering wisdom. Through mentorship, he found renewed purpose, proving that legacy isn't built only through success, but through service and sincerity. A legacy rooted in truth. At 76, Lionel Richie stands not just as a music icon, but as a testament to resilience. His journey reflects the quiet courage it takes to pause, heal, and begin again. The smile remains, but now it carries peace instead of pressure. His music endures because it is rooted in truth, love, loss, hope, and humanity. Lionel's story reminds us that silence can teach, struggle can shape, and imperfection can deepen meaning. Fame fades, but authenticity lasts. His legacy isn't only heard in timeless songs, it's felt in the lives he's touched and the honesty he's embraced. Lionel Richie's life continues to unfold like a well-lived melody, imperfect, reflective, and enduring, proving that the most powerful voices are those that learn when to listen.